Good afternoon, aspirants. In this very particular session, we are going to discuss geography as general studies for UPSC students. In this very chapter, I am handling a very fundamental and foundational chapter for the climatology, that is composition and structure of atmosphere. So in this particular chapter, we need to understand what are those basic fundamental key concepts we need to understand and how the UPSC is asking question over these chapter. This is fundamental. Why I call it as fundamental? Because this is that chapter which is containing the foundational key concepts of the chapter, which is directly related to the climate change, or we can call it as climatology. So atmosphere, the composition of atmosphere and the structure of atmosphere. If we are ready to understand and we are familiar with the basic concepts of these chapter, then easily we can attempt any question if UPSC is asking. So I will explain the strategy and planning also, that how should a UPSC aspirant is expected, like that what are the key concepts, what are the key informations which you should know, right? So here we are not going to understand the theoretical portions, theoretical parts. So we will understand the things in a applied manner. In an application based things we will understand here. So I will also convey you, suppose if we are reading the chapter composition and structure of atmosphere, so how we should deal with the chapter, what are the requirement to qualify the prelims or mains, right? So this will be the main feature of this class. I hope you will get key ideas about my class. So here I am dealing with a very relevant chapter, that is climatology. And in this climatology, the foundational chapter, that is composition and structure, of atmosphere we are dealing. Okay, this is our main chapter. What is requirement of UPSC aspirant, right? So here we will understand this chapter in the applied manner, in applied form we can say, in applied manner we can say, right? So this will be the key features, and you can also correlate the chapter content with the previous PYQs also. So what the past question says and what we are discussing here, this will be the similarity, right? So based on the pattern of UPSC is expecting not the theoretical portions, that what is the theory behind the composition of the atmosphere, how the atmosphere is originated, what are the theories given by different geographers. There is no need to understand. Here we need to understand the fundamental things only, right? That how the precipitation is occurring, how the climate change is taking place around us, means different climatic phenomena which are occurring surrounding us, how they are taking place. So this is the main things. Suppose if I am taking, so how many things we need to understand. So what are the key contents here? Firstly, we will understand here what is atmosphere. What is atmosphere? In abbreviation we can call it as ATM also. Okay, so continuously, frequently I'm telling you the atmosphere, so we can call it as ATM also. Okay, so for the better understanding, so it's the first thing which we will deal, that is what is atmosphere. And also we will discuss the significance. So here the significance is the most relevant thing. We know the significance of atmosphere. Okay, so we know that atmosphere is consisting of various gases. It's a mixture of various airs, gases, dust particles, water vapors. A lot of things are found in the atmosphere. And what are those gases and what is the significance of those gases which are found in the atmosphere, we will understand. So it will containing the significance. Then the second, I will explain the composition of the atmosphere. Then the second major subheadings we can call it composition of atmosphere, right? So composition here means what are the constituent elements, what are those forming elements which are composing the atmosphere, right? So here we can take the examples like gases. Gases is one of the most important constituent element of the atmosphere. Without gases, atmosphere is nothing. Then we can call the second water vapor. Water vapor. Then the third thing which is major composer of atmosphere, that is dust particles. Dust particles. So we'll understand the gases, water vapors and dust particles separately with the significant, how many gases, what types of gases are found in the atmosphere. Thereafter we will do the structure of the atmosphere. Structure of the atmosphere. Structure of the atmosphere. We know there are different layers are found in the atmosphere, and every layer is containing its own qualities, its own properties. So we have to focus over those properties, right? So what are those properties, what are those characteristics, and how these properties are helping the human beings in the transaction of different business, we will understand, right? So along with the characteristics or the properties, we will deal with it, right? And thereafter I will also explain certain points as solar insolation. Solar insolation. So it is also connecting thing. So connecting theme with the atmosphere. So solar insolation will also deal. So this will be the major contents of the topic which I'll deal. So I'll start with the atmosphere. What is atmosphere? So the very first content here I'm dealing. What is atmosphere? So what do you think? What is atmosphere? In a very simple, don't go on the bookish thing. So what is atmosphere? As per your view, you are living in this earth and you are having atmosphere on this earth. So what do you mean by atmosphere? Right? So this is our earth. Suppose this is our earth and there is a gaseous layer. There is a gaseous layer. This is gaseous layer. Gaseous envelope we can say. Okay. So around the earth there is a gaseous envelope which is surrounding our earth, right? And this gaseous envelope is a mixture of gases, air you can call it, water vapor we can call it, and dust particles we can call it, right? So it's a mixture of gases, it's a mixture of gaseous envelope, and collectively this is called atmosphere. This is called atmosphere. This is the presence of atmosphere on the earth make it a unique planet out of all 8 planets of the solar system. So the presence of atmosphere, if atmosphere is not there, then the earth would become barren, just like the moon, just like other planets, right? So it is the presence of the atmosphere which is making the planet as blue planet, because it is ensuring the sustenance of the life. It is indicating the presence of water, that's why it is called as blue planet and livable planet, where the plants can survive, animals can survive, and all living beings are surviving here. Okay, and this is the atmosphere. Now the next question is that what is the biggest cause behind this gaseous envelope is present? What is catching this gaseous envelope? How it is attached with the earth? Okay, because gaseous envelope, so gases can escape to the space itself. Then what is the reason behind it? So UPSC can ask a question behind it, right? So this is our earth and a surrounding layer of the gaseous envelope. So how it is attached with the earth, why it is not leaving, escaping to the space itself? So the reason behind is because of the gravitational force, because of the gravitational force of earth, the atmosphere, this mixture of gases is attached with the earth. Okay, so here UPSC can frame a question, right? Very basic understanding, no very much hard and fast rule, very basic understanding. Are you getting my points? I hope. Now this is again clear, and here now I am moving to the next point. 2 things we have made clarity, and now the next point on which I am coming. So significance. So what is the significance basically? What is the significance? If I talk about the significance of atmosphere, it made the planet livable, made the planet livable. So it is the presence of atmosphere which is responsible for biogeochemical cycle. Biogeochemical cycle. I will later explain what is the meaning of biogeochemical cycles. It is the presence of atmosphere which is highly beneficial for maintaining the hydrological cycle. Hydrological cycle. And it is maintaining the ecosystem balance. Ecosystem balance of earth. Okay, so these are very rational features that it made us, means all the living beings, as breathable, burning and all that. Okay, so there are certain features for gases, for dust particles, for water vapors, which I will explain, right? So here made the earth as livable planet because of the presence of certain gases. So our atmosphere is having so many gases. It is having oxygen, it is having nitrogen, it is having carbon dioxide, noble gases, greenhouse gases. So every type of gases are found in the atmosphere, and every gas is playing its particular role basically for the maintenance of life over the earth. Hence it is called as a livable planet, which is possible because of the presence of the atmosphere. Now the next is it maintains the biogeochemical cycles. This is again very important. Here you need to understand, in the geography books you will not get any point. So biogeochemical cycles are basically certain cycles of gases in which the nutrients are cycled and recycled. So in this way, those cycles, cycling or recycling of the nutrients, is called biogeochemical cycle. So here we can take an example of, suppose, nitrogen cycle, oxygen cycle, or hydrological cycle. Hydrological cycle means water is on earth, it is going to the atmosphere through the process of transpiration, evaporation, and again through the process of condensation it is coming to the earth. Then through the process of evaporation it is going to the atmosphere. Then okay, so it is going to circulate basically, right? So don't think that, suppose you must have seen precipitation, rainfall, you must have seen the snowfall, different precipitation you must have observed, definitely, right? So are you saying that when there is a rainfall, it is not bringing only the water to the earth, it is also bringing nutrients also, because the water of rainfall containing many minerals, are you getting? And that water is full of the minerals, means full of nutrients, which are used by the different types of vegetations, different types of living beings. Is that clear? Right? So hence we can call, so it is circulating the nutrients, and nutrients are the basic source of energy. So if these nutrients will not circulate, then life will become hell, not hell, it will not sustain otherwise, right? So here the major perspective behind the cycling and recycling of the nutrients, so it is biogeochemical cycle, and biogeochemical cycle is because of the presence of atmosphere, because atmosphere is having our sun, right? So sun is the major source of energy and major driver of the winds and oceanic currents, means each and everything behind. So sun is the major driver, major engine we can call it, which is responsible for the biogeochemical cycles, hydrological cycles, because the process of transpiration, condensation, evaporation, so all these processes became possible just because of the sun, heat, energy, right? So I'll deal it later at the end. And hydrological means the process of rainfall. And ecosystem balance of the earth, ecosystem balance, if food chain is broken, suppose if any drought occurs because of certain disturbances, climatic disturbances, then it creates so much hurdles, right? So if proper sun is giving heat, sun is giving energy, and all the biogeochemical cycles, nutrients, means all the chemical energy which is circulating the entire ecosystem, that means it is maintaining its ecosystem. Because ecosystem means what? Everybody having its ecosystem. Suppose you are a human being, we all are human beings, so we are having also a ecosystem of our body. If we are getting cool, it will disturb our ecosystem, it means we have fever, or some other elements. Okay, so if any outside virus or some bacteria introduced in our body, it will definitely make us reactive, right? So reason could be anything. So if there is any climatic phenomena is getting disturbed, then it will create hurdles in maintaining the ecosystem balance of the earth, right? So these are the significance. Now I am coming on the second point, that is, what is the second point? That is composition of the atmosphere. Composition of the atmosphere. Now you will learn what are the things which I need to understand. Suppose if I am a UPSC aspirant, and what informations I need to crack my paper, and it's a very fundamental chapter for the climate change. So here three things. Composition of atmosphere means the constituent elements. Constituent elements. Of atmosphere. So the first one is gases. So first I will deal with the gases. Then second I will deal with the water vapor. So one by one I will explain. So here firstly I am talking about the presence of gases, because atmosphere is a mixture of gases, right? We know in the atmosphere, just understand in a very general way, it does not require any specialization or any deep reading or any depth or any very much informations, right? So here things you need to understand in its own manner, right? Means on the application based, right? Gases, I am taking gases which is a composer of atmosphere. So various gases. So what types of gases are found here? So mainly here which gases are found? So greenhouse gases are found in the environment. Greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases. Then noble gases, krypton, radon, argon, xenon. So these gases are noble gases. Noble means what? Means sharif, है ना? जो means those gases which are having the property of non-reactivity, है ना? जैसे कोई इंसान होता है वो बहुत रिएक्टिव है ना? उसको थोड़ी सी बात बोल दो आपको बहुत तगड़ा रिएक्शन करे, ठीक है, तुरंत रिएक्शन आए। और एक ऐसा इंसान है चाहे आप कुछ भी बोल दो चुप रहेगा, शरीफ एकदम, है ना? तो देखो हमारे एनवायरमेंट में, हमारे एटमॉस्फेयर में शरीफ गैसें भी मिलती हैं, ठीक है। इट मीन्स दीज आर दोज गैसेस विच आर हैविंग द प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ नॉन रिएक्टिविटी। ये क्या करती हैं? ये बैलेंस करती हैं एटमॉस्फेयर का, बिकॉज एटमॉस्फेयर इज फेसिंग सो मच थिंग्स, its winds, dust particles, water vapors, right? So these are basically playing their role as to make the balance, right? They are non-reactive basically, okay? And next one, nitrogen. Some functional gases, nitrogen gas, then oxygen, then carbon dioxide, then argon, krypton, so many gases are found. So greenhouse gases, which are greenhouse gases? Basically we are hearing that greenhouse gases are responsible for the global warming and for the climate change, right? but without greenhouse gas. But these greenhouse gases is having the property of benefits also, right? What is the benefit? These greenhouse gases is responsible for maintaining the heat budget of earth. The heat budget of earth. The heat budget of the earth means the heatness which we are feeling on earth because of the sun, right? So it is possible because of the greenhouse gases, right? So how these are maintaining the heat on the earth? Suppose if sun rays are coming, insolation, incoming solar radiation. So insolation is coming to the earth, right? And our earth's surface is getting warm. Then air is rises, right? And then this air rise because warm air is this, and warm air is light air, and light air will rise. If the air will rise, then it is rising through it is creating the convective currents. So through the process of convection, so the air is rising. When it will rise up to 8-10 kilometers, it will become cool, and cool air tends to sink. It means it is having the property of condensation. It will fall into the form of rainfall, snowfall, depends upon the temperature of that region, right? That in what form it will get back to the earth, right? So greenhouse gases maintaining the heat budget. I will also explain the role of greenhouse gases also, right? How they are beneficial. So we will understand the two phases of the greenhouse gases, right? One phase which is beneficial and the other phase which is responsible for the global warming, right? So noble gases, I have given you the example that they are maintaining the balance, they are non-reactive. And nitrogen, I will start first with the nitrogen, right? So nitrogen is found the 78%. Oxygen is found 20.9, or lump sum we can say it as 21%. Are you getting the 99% gas? These two gases are most important, which are containing the 99% of the atmospheric composition. So from here you will get the conceptual question, right? These are facts, right? Suppose UPSC is asking a question like consider the following statement regarding the composition of the atmosphere. The first statement UPSC is writing that only nitrogen and oxygen containing the 99% of total atmosphere composition. Is this correct or not? Yes, it's correct. The second statement could be anything, right? It is having the maximum proportion of greenhouse gases. Greenhouse, nitrogen is not greenhouse, oxygen is not greenhouse, carbon dioxide is greenhouse. Carbon dioxide is also a greenhouse gas, argon, radon, krypton, so xenon. These gases are the noble gases. Noble gases, ठीक है? तो अगर now one by one we will understand. Suppose nitrogen is 78% and oxygen is 21% lump sum we are taking. So why it is 78%? You know that oxygen is used for the breathing. Understand the key concept. UPSC is not going to ask you the percentage. UPSC will ask you the question over the application, over the applied form, right? So nitrogen, so understand the significance of nitrogen in the atmosphere, that what is role played by nitrogen in the atmosphere. So here, are you seeing that atmospheric nitrogen is not directly consumed by the living beings, just like we are inhaling oxygen directly from the atmosphere, we are inhaling, right, we are breathing. So there are oxygen having two important factors. The first one, it is used for breathing, and the second one is it is used for burning, means the process of combustion. The process of combustion means burning process took place because of the presence of the oxygen, है ना. कहीं पर ऑक्सीजन नहीं है तो जो आग जलाई जाती है, जो हीट होती है, तो वो नहीं होगी. ठीक है. तो you must have heard about some forest fire. Generally it is coming in the newspaper. We heard about forest fire. Do you know why fire took place in forest? Here one question arising. Oxygen is required 21 but nitrogen is 78. Can we imagine that this 21% is a very small proportion? It is using for breathing and burning. So suppose if in our environment, in our atmosphere, it is increased, what will happen? Suppose the proportion of oxygen is increased, what will happen? If the oxygen level is increased in the atmosphere, it will cause the burning issue. There is everything balanced in the nature. If I talk about कि if oxygen is increased, it will give rise to the burning process, and it is definitely a demerit points, right? So excess of the oxygen will lead to the burning of the forest, which is definitely harmful for us, for our biodiversity, for human beings, right? And suppose if the oxygen level is increased beyond this capacity, is also harmful, and lower than its capacity, it is again harmful. So it's a balance. So if it is lower than, if it is lower, oxygen level became low, it became 18%, 17%, then it will create a problem in the breathing. It would result in the failure of respiratory system. Is that clear? And oxygen is not only found in the atmosphere. Oxygen is also found in oceans, in water bodies also. Oxygen is also found underground also, because you know the underground, the snakes and many earthworms, many living beings are living in the earth itself, within soil. So oxygen is also found in soil, in water, in atmosphere. Are you getting? So in the form of dissolved oxygen that is found in the which made the aquatic life. Okay. So here the one question is, this is expected from the UPSC aspirants. If the ratio of oxygen is increased, what will happen? How it will impact the living beings? How it will impact the ecosystem? So definitely it is harmful, na? Right? So here we need to understand the role played by the oxygen. It is not only used for the breathing itself. It is having their own applications also, other applications also. So we have to focus on the other applications also, right? If it would increase, it will create burning issue, breathing issue, right? In the same way, I am taking the example of nitrogen. Now, what happened? Firstly, understand the role played by the nitrogen, right? So nitrogen, atmospheric nitrogen is not consumed directly, just like the oxygen, right? So nitrogen is used through a cycle, that is nitrogen cycle. You know, there are certain plants, bacterias, which are able to break down the nitrogen, because this is the mechanical energy which is available in the atmosphere. So this mechanical energy is converted into chemical energy by certain plants, by certain organism, right? So they are converting this mechanical into chemical. There is a cycle which is called nitrogen cycle. So here the nitrogen is broken down into simpler compounds which is known as amino acids. Amino acids. You know amino acids? Amino acids are the building blocks of the body. Amino acids are actually the proteins, and without proteins we can't survive, right? They are the building blocks. So this protein is possible because of this nitrogen gas, which is a mechanical pure, and we can't consume the mechanical, we can consume the chemical, right? So आप दाल खाते हैं, ठीक है? तो दाल से प्रोटीन क्यों मिलता है? बिकॉज जो सीरियल्स होते हैं, कुछ ऐसी दलहन जो प्लांट्स होते हैं, उनके अंदर, उनके जड़ों में, रूट्स में राइजोबियम या कुछ ऐसे बैक्टीरिया होते हैं, एंड दे कैन ब्रोक डाउन दी एटमॉस्फेरिक नाइट्रोजन इनटू अमीनो एसिड्स, राइट? और जब अमीनो एसिड्स आते हैं तो उस फ्रूट में भी आएंगे, तो हम दाल खाएंगे तो हमारे अंदर वो अमीनो एसिड्स आएंगे, और अमीनो एसिड्स आएंगे तो इट मीन्स प्रोटीन आएगा. इसीलिए बोलते हैं ना दाल में प्रोटीन होता है, ठीक है? तो दिस इज द रीजन, राइट? सो हैंस प्रोटीन. एंड द नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, सो दिस इज फॉर अस प्रोटीन. नाइट्रोजन इज ऑल्सो हेल्पफुल इन प्लांट्स ग्रोथ. If nitrogen is not there, then plants growth would not be possible. So here the biggest role played by the atmospheric nitrogen is in the plants growth, right? So here two important role I understood, that is protein, and the second one is plants growth. Now tell me one question. If the nitrogen, the ratio of this nitrogen is increased, suppose it became the 90%, what will happen? It's excess of protein, yes or no? What will happen? Again it will become harmful, because excess of amino acids, excess of proteins is also harmful, right? And if it is lower down, suppose it became 60%, it will create a hurdle, restrictions in the plant's growth and proteins as well, right? So deficiency as well as increment, both are harmful. So whatever in the nature is in balanced form. Is that clear? So UPSC is expecting this question, these types of question, right? So UPSC questions are always based on the innovations, thinking process, है ना? आपको सोचना है, क्या सोच सकते हैं, right? Now CO2, I'm talking about the greenhouse gases. Again this is very relevant. So what is the role played by the greenhouse gases? UPSC recently asked many questions over the topic, right? What is role played by a significance of greenhouse gases in atmosphere? So here I am drawing a this is earth surface, this is land surface, and this is water surface. Both types of surface are available. This is sun. These are the solar radiation which are coming to earth. These are coming to the water surface as well as on the earth surface. So when the solar radiation, so this is solar radiation. Radiation means solar energy, heat energy, which is very powerful, hence the word is used. So this is our atmosphere, right? So our atmosphere is like a filter. Greenhouse gases are there, noble gases are there, clouds are there, water vapors are there. So the solar radiation is reaching to the terrestrial surface after getting filtration. So this our atmosphere is working as a filter for us, you know, because the solar radiation is very powerful. It is containing various elements like gamma rays, ultraviolet rays. So they are very harmful, but when it get touched into the atmosphere of earth, then it will coming to the earth surface. काम की चीजें आती हैं बस, ठीक है. तो इससे क्या होता है कि जो लैंड सरफेस है, ये तो हो गया सोलर रेडिएशन, which is also called incoming solar radiation. Incoming solar radiation, and it is coming in the form of short wavelength, and this is also called electromagnetic form, in the form of electromagnetic form. Short waves, because why this solar radiation is coming in the form of short wavelength? Because sun is very hot, right? It's a burning like fire, okay, and continuously it is supplying the radiation, right? So it is very energetic. So continuously, so they are coming continuously, hands like this. So it is energetic and continuously it is coming. Hence the waves are short. So the short waves are very energetic. But when it is coming to the surface of the earth and the earth atmosphere become warm, so again our earth is also reflecting. This reflection is called terrestrial reflection, and which is called long wavelength, right? So these are short wavelengths and the reflection is in the form of long wavelengths. Long wavelength means they are coming after a pause like this. Like a pause means not as energetic as the solar. So this thing we can, because our earth is not burn or warm as the sun is warm, if we do the comparison, okay. So our earth is maintaining its 15 degrees Celsius temperature. If it is going beyond the 15 degrees Celsius, it will cause problems, and if it will decrease, again it is caused. So this is the balance, this is the temperature of the earth, 15 degree. So this temperature is managed by, because of the greenhouse gases. How? Suppose incoming solar radiation is coming and earth is getting reflecting, reflecting back. So coming, reflecting, there is no one who can stop. ठीक है, सपोज कि पाइप आपने चलाया, टैंक आपको फिल करना है और आपने मोटर चलाई, वाटर टैंक चलाया, लेकिन वाटर टैंक में पानी को रोकने के लिए कोई सरफेस ही नहीं है, पानी वापस से बह के चला जा रहा है नाले में, ठीक है, तो क्या होगा, टैंक में पानी कलेक्ट होगा नहीं, क्या आप उस पानी को यूज कर सकते हैं, नहीं। तो अब जो ये सोलर रेडिएशन आ रहा है, इसको रोकने, इसे कंज्यूम भी तो करना है जो ही, तो क्या होगा, दिन में अर्थ बहुत गर्म होती है, अगर ये एटमॉस्फेयर नहीं होता, ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस नहीं होती, तो क्या होता, तो हमारी अर्थ ना रात में बहुत ठंडी होती और दिन में बहुत गर्म होती, ठीक है। ये जो एक बैलेंस टेम्परेचर हम फील कर रहे हैं, ये हम नहीं फील कर पाते। जो प्लांट्स ग्रोथ होती है, प्लांट्स कभी ग्रो नहीं कर पाते, ह्यूमन लाइफ सस्टेन नहीं हो पाती, तो भी वो प्रॉब्लम है। तो ये जो एक मेंटेनेंस है बजट, हीट बजट, इसको ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस जो है वो मेंटेन करती है। यूपीएससी ने क्वेश्चन पूछा था, सो हाउ द क्वेश्चन इज आस्क्ड, सो ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस, सपोज द बिगेस्ट ग्रीन हाउस gas which is playing its role, that is carbon dioxide, right? So greenhouse gas is playing a very important role in the maintenance of the heat budget because they are transparent to the short wavelength, means solar radiation. ये इतनी पावरफुल होती है कि इनको रोक नहीं पाती हैं, right? So the penetration they can't stop. So solar radiation is continuously coming. So greenhouse gases are transparent, but for the when the earth is reflecting back to the space, then it became a hurdle, then it became opaque. It became opaque, right? So for this, they are transparent. आने देती, सपोज कि आने ही ना देती तो भी प्रॉब्लम थी, अगर सब कुछ जाने देती तो भी प्रॉब्लम, राइट? सो ग्रीन हाउस गैसेज आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द मेंटेनेंस ऑफ हीट बजट ऑफ द अर्थ बिकॉज दे आर ओपेक, ये रोक लेते हैं इसको यहाँ पे, ठीक है। तो अभी क्या हो रहा है, एज द कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ऑफ दीज ग्रीन हाउस गैसेज इज इंक्रीजिंग, सो दे आर एबल टू कैच दी solar radiation maximum, that's why the temperature of earth is increasing. This is the main reason, because greenhouse, why the greenhouse gases are held responsible for the global warming. So this was the reason, because the greenhouse gases are transparent for the short wavelengths, means the solar radiation, but they are opaque. आने दे रही हैं but जाने नहीं दे रही हैं, तो ज़्यादा concentration बढ़ेगा तो टेम्परेचर ज्यादा, क्योंकि जाए कहाँ, रिफ्लेक्शन कहाँ होगा, अगर रिफ्लेक्शन हो जाए तो टेम्परेचर नॉर्मल रहेगा, बट दिस रिफ्लेक्शन इज नॉट गेटिंग प्रॉपर बिकॉज ऑफ द प्रेजेंस ऑफ टू मच कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ऑफ द ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस. इज दैट क्लियर, राइट? So this was the role played by the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Okay, so है तो भी beneficial है, नहीं होती तो भी जो है वो फिर भी कोई प्रॉब्लम जो है होती, right? So this is the significance, right? So कहते हैं ना कि excess of everything is bad. भी presence है green house gases की होना, तो green house इनको क्यों कहते हैं? Because they are helping in maintaining the heat budget. That's why they are called as greenhouse gas. Okay, they have their own merits and demerits. तो ज्यादा ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस हो जाएंगी तो ओपेक हो जाएंगी, ग्लोबल वार्मिंग होगा, ठीक है. सो दिस वाज द रीजन, ग्लोबल वार्मिंग होगा, क्लाइमेट चेंज होगा, राइट? सो दिस वाज द रीजन. नाउ वी हैव अंडरस्टूड ऑल द पॉइंट्स. Now we are coming on the second mixture of composition, that is the second one is water vapor. This is again very important. Water vapor. Water vapor is a greenhouse gas. Okay, we know the state of water in three form. State of water, three form of water. Water is found in liquid form, water is found in solid form, and water is also found in gaseous form, right? So the gaseous form of water is water vapor, hence it is called gas. and hence it is called as greenhouse gas, right? And recently I have discussed the importance of the greenhouse gases, right? So just like carbon dioxide is playing its role, water vapor is also playing its role, but not as same. Okay, so certain things so are there, but water vapor have more properties than the carbon dioxide. So we will understand it. So water vapor, I will also discuss the question, recent question in 2024 prelims has been asked. So I will also discuss that related to the water vapor, right? So water vapor, I know it's the gaseous form of water, gaseous form of water. The second feature I understood. The next thing, water vapor means what? Water vapor means moisture in atmosphere. They are responsible for the moisture in atmosphere. So where this moisture is coming to the atmosphere? It is through the process of evaporation. As I have given you this diagram, when the solar radiation is coming to the land surface, the land surface will get warm, and warm it will generate air, and warm air is light, hence it tend to rise. So through the process of convection it will rise, right, which form the clouds. On the same way, water surface is also available. So water surface are getting the solar radiation, incoming solar radiation. So the upper surface of the oceanic water will get warmed and it will start rising in the form of water vapors, right? So that water vapors became clouds, right? So here air and water vapors, right? So both will, so it will create high pressure, it will create low pressure, right? So later I will explain. So in this way, so from where the water vapors are getting in the atmosphere, so it is through the water bodies which are located on the earth. There is no source of atmosphere itself, okay? So it is from the earth itself. And who is the main driver? Sun. Solar radiation is the main driver, right? So because of the presence of these water bodies, so it could be ocean, seas, gulf, bay, rivers, lakes, anything it could be, right? So through the process of evaporation, the liquid water is converting into gas, and in gaseous form, right, it is coming to the, so this was the main thing. So in this way our atmosphere is getting water vapor, right? So it is responsible for the moisture, and this moisture is responsible for entire hydrological process, right? So this moisture is responsible for the hydrological process. Hydrological process means it is helping in the cycling and recycling of the nutrients, right? Now, so ratio of water vapor, right? So in the lower atmosphere, so up to 5 kilometer to the earth's surface, 95% water vapors are found. Water vapors, right? So one thing you will keep in your mind, so there are two things, right? So the ratio of the water vapor also depends upon two important elements. The first one is temperature, right? Means the variability of water vapor depends upon the temperature, and the second one is altitude. Altitude means height, So temperature, right? So temperature means what? Means when temperature, you know that the maximum temperature we are getting on the equator. So when we move from equator to poles, water vapor decreased. Water vapor decreased, right? So here we can understand the equator is having maximum water vapor. So as we move from equator to poles, the water vapor get decreased. It means temperature, where the highest temperature, it means the highest process of evaporation, right? Then water vapor. So if temperature is high, then process of evaporation took place and the water vapors are abundantly found. And if the temperature is low, and in the low temperature the process of vaporization is not possible, hence the low water vapors, right? So here I can say that in the tropics, in the tropical region of the earth, the maximum water vapors are found as we go to the poles. So it's always less in number because of the no process of evaporation, because sunlight is not there. Okay. And the next one is altitude, right? Altitude means height. Height means when we go through the earth's surface to the height of the, so as I given you the up to the 5 kilometer, they are found 95%, right? So if we go beyond the 5 kilometer, so automatically the percentage of water vapor get reduced, right? So as we go to the altitude, again it is reduced, and if we go from equator to poles, again it is reduced. And you can say, and when we come to poles to equator, the ratio of the water vapor found maximum, right? So maximum level of the water vapor found in the tropics regions, right? So do you know what is the tropics? Tropic region? This is our earth, right? बढ़िया सी बनाते हैं ना, अच्छी अर्थ नहीं बनी हमारी. So this is our earth, this is our equator, it's 0 degree, right? Our earth is having certain bulges on the equator, we know. This is 23.5 degree north, means Tropic of Cancer, and this is 23.5 south, Tropic of Capricorn. So this region in the earth from 23.5 north to south, this region is called tropical region. Tropical region. Okay. So tropics means move. So this region is defined with respect to movement of sun. ये वो जगह है, ये वो रीजन है हमारी अर्थ पर जिसमें मतलब ये एक तरीके से पाथ है सन का साल में. ओके. सो थ्रू आउट द ईयर सन इज ऑलवेज इन दिस जोन. किसी न किसी लैटिट्यूड पर, किसी न किसी लैटिट्यूड पर सन इज ऑलवेज ओवरहेड, कहीं ना कहीं होते हैं. दिस इज दैट रीजन. सो ट्रॉपिक्स इज दैट रीजन which is basically a path for the sun to move, right? So कहीं जैसे अभी winters है तो winter solstice है, summer solstice है. So right now sun is overhead over the tropic of, in between tropic of Capricorn. Okay. So in the March itself the sun will overhead on the equator, and therefore thereafter the sun become northward, right? So it northward, and on 21st June the sun will overhead on the Tropic of Cancer. thereafter sun again come to in September on equator. Okay, so this was the path where the sun is moving throughout the year. Okay, so now you think this is that reason which here sir sun never goes. ठीक है, तो ये जो रीजन है, यहाँ सूर्य की लड़ाई है, यहाँ नहीं जाते कभी भी सूर्य, यहीं रहेंगे. ठीक है, तो जहां पर सन जाएंगे इसका मतलब वहां पर सनलाइट जाएगी, जहां पर सनलाइट जाएगी इसका मतलब वहां पे टेम्परेचर ज्यादा है, जहां पर टेम्परेचर ज्यादा होगा इट मींस वहां पर इवेपोरेशन का प्रोसेस अच्छा होगा, इवेपोरेशन अच्छा होगा इट मींस वहां पर वाटर वेपर्स ज्यादा होंगे, वाटर वेपर ज्यादा होंगे इट मींस मॉइस्चर होगा, मॉइस्चर ज्यादा होंगे इट मींस वहां पे रेनफॉल होगी. ठीक है, अब देखो आप यहाँ पर रेनफॉल होती है, यहाँ पे स्नोफॉल होती है. ठीक है, स्नोफॉल होती है, यहाँ पे क्या होती है, स्नोफॉल. क्यों? क्योंकि टेम्परेचर जो है वो कम है. दिस इज ऑल स्नोफॉल, हेल स्टॉर्म्स, राइट. सो ऑल दीज आर द फॉर्म्स ऑफ द precipitation basically, right? So now you got the point. So this is what I'm trying to make you understand, right? So altitude. So UPSC asked a question, consider the following statement regarding the water vapor. Okay, so water vapor decreased through the altitude when we go to the height. तो water vapor घट जाएंगे, सही बात है. water vapors are maximum at poles. दूसरा स्टेटमेंट ये था, ये रॉन्ग स्टेटमेंट है. वाटर वेपर्स कहां पर मैक्सिमम होंगे, जहां पर सनलाइट होगी, जहां पर इवेपोरेशन होगा. ठीक है, तो हाई टेम्परेचर, राइट, मींस हाई वाटर वेपर, राइट, ह्यूमिडिटी. सो इन दिस वे यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दिस वे. नाउ आई होप यू आर गेटिंग द पॉइंट ऑफ वाटर वेपर. सो दिस वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. नेक्स्ट, दैट्स वाई देखो इवेपोरेशन जो है वो इक्वेटर पर ज्यादा होता है, इसीलिए तो पूरा साल बारिश होती है वहां पे, है ना. आप अफ्रीका चले जाइए, इक्वेटर के किसी कॉन्टिनेंट पे आप जाइए, वहां पे पता है कुछ टाइम बाद सूर्य दिख रहे हैं, 1 घंटे के बाद फिर बारिश हो जाएगी, काले बादल. तो कन्वेक्शनल रेनफॉल होता है वहां पर, राइट. दैट्स वाई. सो नाउ आई एम कमिंग द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, that is third point, and this is dust particles. This is dust particles. Dust particles, they are the solid particulates. They are the solid particulates. Like we can take the example like smoke, like salt, pollen, ashes. Okay, volcanic eruptions, through ashes are added to the atmosphere, right? So these are the solid. Earlier gases were not solid, right? Gases are gases. Water vapor is also gas, so they are gaseous form, they are solid forms. Hence the dust particles are playing a very important role. So that's why the dust particulates are called as hygroscopic nuclei. This term is used for the dust particles, hygroscopic nuclei. So what is the meaning of hygroscopic nuclei? It means they have, so here you will keep in mind, it is hygro, it is related to the moisture. Okay, means capacity of retaining moisture. Okay, it's not hydro, hydro means related to water. Okay, so there is difference between water and moisture, na. So hydrosphere having water, hygrosphere means having moisture, right? So it is, so hygroscopic nuclei means they are the solid surface. They are the solid surface and they are having the capacity of containing moisture, capacity of retaining moisture, right? Suppose they are providing surface to the for the process of condensation, for the process of condensation. वाटर वेपर ऊपर जाके कहाँ रुकेंगे, तो कहीं इन पे जो सॉल्ट होता है, शुगर होती है, पॉलेन्स होते हैं, स्मोक होते हैं, उनके ऊपर बैठ जाएंगे. घर है, एक सरफेस है, ठीक है, तो कोई ना कोई तो सरफेस, सॉलिड सरफेस होना चाहिए ना. तो जो ये धूल कण है, मिट्टी है, तो ये बेसिकली क्या होते हैं, ये एक हाइग्रोस्कोपिक न्यूक्लियाई होते हैं, एक सॉलिड प्लेटफॉर्म की जो वाटर इवेपोरेट हो के जो जाता है, तो उसको ऊपर रुकने के लिए भी तो कुछ जगह चाहिए. तो जो ये सॉल्ट, स्मोक, पॉलन, एशेस होते हैं ना, सो दे प्रोवाइडेड होम, है ना, कि आ जाओ भाई आप मेरे सर पे बैठो, ठीक है. तो यहाँ पर वाटर वेपर्स बैठते हैं. तो जो वाटर वेपर्स होते हैं, दे आर कंटेनिंग वाटर, जितनी कैपेसिटी होगी, ठीक है, तो वो जो है उसको कैरी करते रहेंगे मॉइस्चर को. एयर भी होगी, तो वो जो एयर है वो कैरी करती रहेगी मॉइस्चर. फिर एक ऐसी अवस्था आ जाएगी, एक ऐसी स्टेज आएगी व्हेन द कैरिंग कैपेसिटी ऑफ मॉइस्चर बिकेम निल, कि भाई अब और कैपेसिटी नहीं है, ठीक है, और फिर वो जो है ड्रॉपलेट्स के फॉर्म में गिरना स्टार्ट करती हैं. तो जब तक ये डस्ट पार्टिकल्स, ये स्मोक, सॉल्ट, जितने वाटर वेपर इनके ऊपर बैठे हुए हैं, जब तक वो सारा पानी गिर नहीं जाता तब तक, ठीक है, तो फिर खाली, फिर बारिश रुक जाती है, राइट. सो दिस प्रोसेस, सो डस्ट, विदाउट डस्ट, सो दिस इज द सिग्निफिकेंस. सो विदाउट द डस्ट पार्टिकल्स, हम बोलते हैं डस्ट पार्टिकल्स dangerous and dangerous, but to some extent they are beneficial because they are providing a solid surface. Is that clear? Okay, so this is something which I explained as a composition of atmosphere, right. So in the next portion I will explain the composition, like the structure of the atmosphere. It is again very easy, structure of the atmosphere. So structure of the atmosphere, so we are having layers, okay. So in the next class I will discuss like troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and magnetosphere. So I will explain this in the next class. So I hope you are able to understand these facts, figures, and you got the idea in the form of applied things, right. So till then, thank you so much, take care, bye bye.